Real talk for the bold, bruised, and built to last. Welcome to the Built This Way podcast with Patricia Muellen.
Just start. The irony of what just happened 30 seconds ago, as I'm starting to say, you should just start instead of pausing on everything and always overthinking everything and killing your ideas, which was actually like my biggest regret and mistake with this whole entire human experiment of this amazing podcast, right? But, just not doing it soon enough and trying to find my own voice. Incidentally, what I was talking about is my producer, Patrick, waving and screaming basically with the mute on, telling me to stop as I was just starting the show. And I got the middle finger in the most lovingly way, I'm sure. I'll introduce you to him later, I'm sure. But, this came out literally yesterday. And by this, I mean, built this way, baby. And I'm so excited about it. And so far, it's already been heard all over the world. I don't know what I have been so nervous about, and I mean, like, obviously the United States of America, where I am proud to live in, but also Japan, the UK, Chile, Spain, Nigeria, Turkey, Dubai. I don't even know people there, but I do now. And that's pretty freaking amazing. I am a, what do you call, recovering self-deprecated imposter syndrome, no longer victim of, right? I let myself and others get into my head like for years. Why? I don't know. I mean, have these people did the same things? Have they accomplished the same things? Do they have the same dreams? Have they even freaking tried any of the stuff that I've tried? Probably not. But little comments or things or just situations that, for whatever reason, it would pile up. And even like life and trauma and all that other stuff, it gets in there. And then over time, I feel like who I used to be, she just kind of dwindled away. And I sat on a shelf for a couple years now. And I just as I was starting to pick up steam and find me, boom, I changed again. And, with those people, like, are they better? No. Are they in progress of starting their own podcast? Probably not. Are they on IMBD? Hell no. And by the way, am I on IMBD? Yes. So hopefully, you immediately find me. It's not actually in my name, but I'm on there. The point is that over perfection killed the process. It didn't just stop the process or halt the process or slow the process down. It completely murdered my process. And, I'm a marketing person and I strategize, and my job is to execute things and to move things forward. And I rarely get the feeling of accomplishment because marketing is never done and changes always happen. And it's an ever evolving thing. So this is a feeling of accomplishment and just starting something. The last year, and you have no idea, the obsessing over equipment, repeatedly buying just different things, thinking, recording my first episodes, scrapping those episodes entirely, hating the sound of my own voice just for not being perfect, avoiding my own office for months, pretty much because it's upstairs and I didn't feel like coming up here. And it was also nice out, honestly. And that's just like a summer thing, but also because I didn't want to look at this beautiful board that I wasn't using, and I didn't put all this stuff to its full potential. Here's how I got through it. One, investing in yourself will make you start using it, even if you let the equipment sit. And how I did that is I also hired somebody to help me. Needing support, validation, actual help, admitting all of that was really, really tough. And how it actually happened. Yay, social media. Is a friend of mine from about 20 years ago, going through similar stuff, decided that he was starting his own podcast production company. And incidentally, I'm in the same place doing the same thing. And here's somebody feeling the same way. Am I good enough? Are people going to accept me? I don't know if this is him specific, but this was me. And it's not with my business, but this was any sort of creative project, any sort of new reel. I stopped recording reels for my own self. I used to do them for joy, and to help people. When I went through my hip stuff and some other health things, I would record. And there's just something in me. A few years ago, lost two of my sisters within 6 months. And when people pass, other folks don't mean to do this. We all love the people in our lives, but when they go away or when other people experience loss, like not everybody has that experience. And I forgot that. So they didn't know how to necessarily deal with me, and people that I thought were friends, close friends, some of them didn't necessarily know how to help a person in mourning. And because I didn't know how to, I don't know, mourn, grieve, deal with it, then I lost my dog. And that was the worst of all of them, which sounds terrible. I knew my sisters for a short period of my life, but when my dog passed, I felt like it was my child. And that was a whole other thing. And that changed me. And then all of a sudden I didn't want to post. I didn't want to share reels. And I just got in my head with everything and anything that I would let be an excuse. And honestly, it all kind of rolled back to caring what others think, which I don't really know why, because I like to walk and think that I don't really care what others think. I think we're all we want to not care what other people think. But it's just really, really hard to actually do that on a day-to-day basis. So starting this, I kind of had to do it in the spirit of doing it for me. For me, sharing my story, gathering other pros, helping them share their stories is a way to heal, help others heal, help them get out of it. Don't do the thing that I did and wait a year, 2 years, 5 years to start that project. I mean, I started this thing saying the biggest regret that I have with this whole thing, and I have a lot of regrets in my life, but one of the largest ones was waking up every day and seeing other people succeed and not feel jealousy or envy, but feel disappointment in myself that I didn't pick up the mic or turn on my camera and start doing the thing that I said I was going to do this entire time. To myself, I broke a promise to me. What's that about? So now I'm here fulfilling this promise, and I can't necessarily care what others think. I need to not compare myself to the greats, like as they are now, because the greats were not great when they started. If you've ever watched the videos of Lila Hermosi or Gary Vaynerchuk or Candace Owens, they all sucked when they started. They were terrible, right? It's a process, and they didn't care. And the thing that all three of them have in common, besides the fact that they have millions of followers and they're all in their own way amazing, is that they literally were consistent the entire time. It feels so stupid, right? Being in marketing, consistency is how you win. It's how you relay a message. It's how you capture your audience. It's how you get people to go from dating to marrying you, meaning how you get them to meet you and go to your website and actually make a decision. So why do we expect ourselves to not need consistency when it comes to being success or getting results? Why don't we put ourselves through that process? Those that did are doing it. Those that tried, or at least they've tried and they've put it out there. And this podcast may be 10 episodes long, or it may be 20,000 episodes long. I don't know if it'll be 20,000 episodes long, but I have a friend and she has 500 episodes, and she's going to be a guest. And she made a comment the other day to me about how she was so proud because I was so set up. And I said, I am so embarrassed, because she's like, I just started my podcast on Zoom. I said, you've got over 500 episodes. I am starting my first one. I would trade places with you in a heartbeat if I could just literally have started or began when I wanted to begin, instead of spending the last 2 years in a sea of regret. buy the equipment. 12 months. You should buy the equipment. She didn't even buy the equipment. She was doing it through her laptop. I had the equipment the entire time. My strife or my journey for perfection killed my process. I had to let it go. Comparing myself to others killed my progress and my process. And I have to let that go. My own trauma has trapped me for years. And I need to let that go. And, speaking of trauma and being in business and knowing shit's going to happen to you at any given time, the older you get, the more it is. Mine were the 3 H's. And I'm not talking about the herp, HIV, or hepatitis. And if you have any of those, oh my God, I'm really sorry. I'm talking about new hips. I got 2 of them within 6 weeks. Hashimoto's disease, which is a thyroid thing. What the hell? No one told me about that. And an upcoming hysterectomy, which is completely life-changing and scary and really, really vulnerable to have to talk about. But all of that stuff means change. And yeah, shit. By the way, explicit show, right? When you went to listen, it was marked that way for a reason. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, all of those things. And before that, something called a hysteroscopy, right? Which is basically they take a growth out of you, right? And it's a woman's fertility issue surgery. And that was 2018. And then I moved out of state and found out by mistake, which, maybe not for a mistake for a reason, maybe it was for a reason, found out I needed new hips. Wasn't expecting to do that in my late 30s. Did that 6 weeks apart. Thank you, COVID. And the fact that we were afraid that we weren't going to have health insurance, basically. So my doc, being the great guy that he is, helped me schedule those 2 bad boys 6 weeks apart. And I signed up for 2, not 1, 2 car accidents 6 weeks apart from one another. Still running a business. And then, all the other stuff, when you get older, your body changes and things happen. And nobody tells you when you're younger that you need to start figuring out this roadmap. And even if you are great and you're solid in your 30s, when you get to your 40s, things are probably going to change too. And that's just kind of what happened with me. And I am so thankful that I have these roadmaps to wellness because I feel actually better than I have in my whole entire life. I'm actually in better shape now than I have been in probably 20 plus years. So me doing this now and just doing it, some of the biggest, most creative, most amazing things that I've done have actually happened when I've had like the most adverse, crazy, awful shit happening to me. So I don't know why. Maybe it's just trying to record what is or what is now so that I can look back and see what was. I love seeing my progress and sharing my progress with others. So that's probably another part of it. And I went through my hip thing. I started a TikTok account. And I thought, my intern at the time went back to college. And I thought, TikTok is for, young people. I can't TikTok. So I go on and I start looking up stuff. And I just found out I was going to have these surgeries. So I get on TikTok and I set up, your account and you put in all the different things, your likes, your hopes, your dreams, all that stuff. When you start your first account, at least you do, or at least this was the way that it was. And my feed was freaking amazing. It was all marketing stuff and things about photography and all my different hobbies. And incidentally, things about surgeries, nothing really about hips, but there's this guy called the Bone Doctor and he had like millions of followers at the time. And he liked 2 of my videos because I actually started making cathartic videos to make it known that women in their 30s, get hip replacements. I could not find anything on social media if you weren't 60 years old, which incidentally, if you're going to get one, get it in your 30s because I'm pretty sure you heal a lot faster and you'll feel a lot better because you have a better quality of life. And so I wanted to start making videos of what do you prepare for and what did my doctors not tell me? And then I went through 2 days later after my surgery, I'm all drugged up and let's just post a TikTok video talking about medication and stool softeners and all that kinds of weird shit. And that was almost 4 years ago. I am still getting messages from people today, every week on TikTok. Hey, I saw your video about this. Another regret is I didn't post more videos about my experience with that. So I don't know if I'm going to do this with this next surgery coming up. It's a little bit more sensitive, I guess, than the last ones, but I can tell you that it is giving me a fire in my belly and a bravery that I haven't had in a long time. Maybe it's going under the knife. Maybe it's just knowing that if now, when sort of thing. Maybe it's just because I'm trying to just finally start something that, I've wanted to start for a while. And I could not figure out how to do it on my own. Whether you have to hire somebody to help you, or you have to get someone to help you with accountability, or whether you have to buy expensive equipment so you have a financial bit, game or place or part in the game, go ahead. But yeah, I mean, you have to do something. Otherwise, regret is one of the worst feelings up there with all the other bad feelings. And I actually have a friend who is an expert on this topic. And he is graciously asked or agreed to come on. And I think that we needed to actually dive into this more, because it's not just with starting a podcast or creating a reel or starting your business. It could be any sort of thing, right? And I think we've all been there in some way or respect. Maybe it's you were supposed to get a surgery that you've been putting off. For me, for about a year, it was those hips. And then I did it. And then, it made me feel like a superhero. So anything that comes my way, what could be worse than that, right? I mean, there's a lot, but that's just how it made me feel. And I hope that helped you today. And I will see you again shortly, or hear you again shortly. But yeah, thanks again for joining me. This has been a blast, and I hope to continue with you. Take care.